So, first off, biscuits from heaven, back on the video. Um, and I don't typically do pervasive college football topics, really many college football topics at all, especially outside of Auburn. But I have been following the recent Big Ten, ACC, Pac-12, everybody except the SEC, pretty much, and kind of the war of the worlds that have been occurring recently, and pretty much the death knell for the old Pac-12. And this is up to date to fucking uh, 2 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, God's time zone, as I think Split Zone Duo calls it. Um, and I just wanted to give like an opinion here. I think it's factual, damn near, but we'll say it's an opinion. So a lot of people that are on the older side and very possessive, I guess, have thought for years that paying college athletes would kill the sport off. And those people were ardently wrong as of 2021 when you first were able to pay athletes. 2021 was not a bad year of college football, and 2022 was an even better year of college football. But as of 2021, late 2021, I believe, or early 2022, I forgot exactly when, we knew Texas and Oklahoma would come to the SEC, which is going to effectively spark the Big 12 to take some Group of Five athletes or programs. So some Group of Five programs have been really, really beat up since then. Some of them got smart and took other Power Five or other Group of Five programs. Some of them took some lesser thans and added them to their conference, and some have just been assed out since then. Uh, I still like to say that like the wheel went into motion pretty much the second that Texas and Oklahoma left. I know some people will say A&M and Missouri. No one gives a shit about Missouri. A&M was a loss in that they had a major rivalry with Texas, but the Big 12 obviously was able to sustain, and I would contend to even thrive after that. As 2014, they had two teams that probably were playoff caliber. They got shafted. They produced Oklahoma, who had a regime of almost three straight Heisman, and they still have Texas, or had Texas, who is a piece of shit that makes billions of dollars. But we keep on going, and then Texas becomes even greedier, and Oklahoma has to follow Texas. Um, Now we're pretty much, I think, where the prediction was that we'd be at once those two moves happened, or I really, I guess, one move of two teams, in that some conference is going to fucking lose. It was just an inevitability because there's only so much picking from the bottom of, I don't know what to call Group of Five bottom of the barrel, but from last call that you could take. You had to eventually start getting some top tier hoes. And unfortunately, the Pac 12 had a couple top tier hoes that did not deserve to be in the damn Pac 12. ACC is the same way, but the ACC said, you motherfuckers are going to sign to this ironclad goddamn contract before anything else happens. And if you don't have any future foresight, expecting yourself to be better than where you're at currently, shout out to Florida State and Clemson. Sorry. So ACC is Gucci. Either way, they're going to get tons of billions and billions of dollars if anybody wants to leave, or they're going to stay there and make the ACC tons of billions of dollars. Either way, billions are going to be in store for the ACC, who also has TV rights still. The Pac-12 had none of that. No granted rights, no TV deal, nothing. Just stopped motherfuckers just walking straight at the damn door. And that's what USC, UCLA did. I'm not gonna like restate all of this shit, but the Pac-12, somebody who's much better than me at reviewing history, can show you from 2010 on how many L's the Pac-12 have taken, and that positions to my actual point here in saying that, hey, just listen to me here. Hey, a conference, one of the five Power Five autonomy status having conferences, absolutely shitting the bed for a decade plus, is probably more to blame for said conference failing and resulting in a litany of failed rivalries. or now failed rivalries. That's more to blame with that conference than it is the fucking NIL. The NIL, I'm seeing it slowly and slowly more because more people are just more concerned with kind of giving a memoir for college football as we know it. A power four is not markedly different than a power five, but when you keep in mind that the fifth of that power five that will not be around, has so much history. Like Stanford has very recent history. Oregon from the '90s on has some good history. USC is USC. UCLA has some great moments. I mean, even Cal Berkeley produced a few talented teams and some very good rivalries. I mean, Oregon State, USC, Oregon has some recent juice. USC, UCLA. I mean, Washington State. I mean, Washington State, Mike Leach. I mean, like, we're talking about some regimes that have provided fun in college football and even the Pac-12 after dark. And it's just football. Pac-12 when it comes to basketball has like an identity that's very unique and one of one. And Western Conference basketball in general is a juggernaut. So to have literally and the not having a single representative of that entire side of the fucking country, even though that side of the country has produced some of the best basketball talent of ever, yeah, ever. No Bill Walton either. I mean, at least not in the Pac-12 system. I mean, he may be doing something, but he won't be doing it for the Pac-12. To lose all that shit is because of the competency. Simply put, the Pac-12 did not value all of that shit I just listed out at the correct market value. Oregon should be worth something more than $20 million. I don't know. I think Apple valued everybody in the Pac-12 is $20 million, give or take. The fucking Oregon $20 million. I know the like college football and fucking it's a regional sport. The South, obviously these dudes are worth more than the dudes in the West. Whatever. The fans don't attend. I'm not saying that fucking Cal Berkeley is worth the same as fucking USC. I'm not saying that. But I do think that Oregon is worth more than 20 million. Washington, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about that one. 20 million seems like low for them. If you're saying like Rutgers is roughly worth 60 million, or where the market share is for this year for a full member of the Big Ten, maybe Washington is worth at least half of Rutgers with the fucking Big Ten amp, because the New York market doesn't give a shit about college sports either. I would say even less or so than Washington, because Washington has at least the kind of qualifier that they don't have an NBA team and they don't have an NFL team, if I remember correctly. Washington's in the state. I don't think they have an NFL team. Or Seattle, my bad. They do have an NFL team. But they don't have a NBA team. So, I mean, I think there's value in any kind of sports. And to just lose, to have the fucking stream on Apple. Because, like, well, we really don't, like, see a way to fucking reach the TV market in a real hospitable way. We're going to go to fucking Apple TV, which maybe that would have worked out. Maybe the Apple TV thing. I'm not sure if it's still even on the board at this point. Because, I mean, who are you going to do it with? Like, I just don't. They were literally bringing people to the table to sign off on this thing today. And Oregon and Washington took their nuts off the table and said, we're not getting fucking chopped down. Which that's a very sordid scene. I'm sorry for that. It's just off the top of my head. I don't know. My bad. They're saying that I get fucking tired of anything bullshitty. And Utah does not want to. Not Utah. Arizona does not want to. Utah and Arizona State do not want to be stuck behind. Colorado saw what was going to happen and figured that with Dion being going up this way, we don't want to go down this way. No one. I don't think anybody generally wants to leave the Pac-12. Even USC and UCLA, I don't think they wanted to leave, but it just literally, completely, holistically, did not make sense to entertain the bullshit that was coming up in the horizon from the Pac-12. They couldn't even get this TV rights damn thing done in the summertime. It is going to be now. It's probably going to be the season by the time the shit gets figured out. It might actually be in the season itself, because they have to figure somebody else out to add at this point. They don't have, assuming that the Big 12 does follow through on also adding Arizona and Arizona State and UC, not UCLA, Um, Utah. You. I had the U's confused. It sounds like Arizona's pretty much a done deal at this point, even though they've been brought back to the table as of earlier today. That was before the two major powers, or two remaining powers anyway, just got up and got the fuck out of there. So the Pac-12, which I think was 12 teams with everybody before this year, to four, counting Arizona four, and then counting another two in Oregon and Washington. So they're down six, and then two of them intend on leaving. I'm pretty sure Arizona State and Utah intend on leaving and following Utah. Not Utah, Arizona. So where does that leave you? You have Cal, Washington State. I don't know who else. Who's else in that conference? Oregon State. That I think it should leave one more, but I don't know who the other one is. Stanford. There we go, Stanford. So you got four. Like Stanford's going to maybe get a Big Ten inclusion because of the academic side of things. Kind of same reason, not same reason UNC is in there, because UNC does have basketball. Stanford has like non-relevant sports they're good in, but but Oregon State's fucked. Like Oregon State's going to rot in like the fucking MWC or some shit. Cal doesn't even matter. Like I told you, what does Cal give you? Miles Jack? Like I don't know. I think Miles Jack went to UCLA, but whatever. Miles Jack. I don't even know the team I meant. Washington State. Dude, they're fucked, bro. I mean, they have like recent prestige, not really prestige, but recent value as a football program, but they're fucked, dude. So you got like four programs that are basically like just waddling under the water. And to be realistic, like when people are arguing for Washington and Oregon State, like that was gonna be Oregon and Washington. No matter if they got a half a share or whatever as a member of the Big Ten, the exposure of being on a real TV network versus being in a fucking merger with the goddamn MWC, which I think the Pac-12 will have to do, is an actual merger with the fucking MWC or the Big Sky. This fucking jackass is recording right fucking now. Fuck my life. Not recording, blowing fucking leaves. Motherfucker. They're going to just do a merger. And Oregon should not be playing against San Diego State and San Jose State in fucking prime time. They just shouldn't fucking be doing that. They had to do what they had to do, and that was the right thing to do. The right thing was to go into the fucking Big 12 or the Big 10 and play USC and UCLA and whoever. But goddamn, it's bad for football. I can tell you right now, the inevitability of it just being two super conferences or even one super conference is almost an absolute. The ACC is going to fail at some point. It's just about when and not, how. Like, the how is actually it's a matter of when and how, I guess. Because I don't think any of the ACC programs, especially the Big Seven that have been like trying to get the fuck out of there, have any idea how to break the granted rights. The granted rights is the fucking master lock in WWE. They're not getting out of that shit. It's just not happening. At least not right now. They have not figured it out right now. Will they figure it out in another couple of years if they give less money to the ACC? Maybe. If they have to just blow like 5 years versus, I think it's 2036, so 13 years? About 13, give or take. Maybe 5 is a little bit more presentable than 13 to whichever conference they have to inevitably ask to pay off those fees. Because as it is, I don't know the granted rights front to back, but pretty much the thing that's been keeping everybody in line is that no matter where they go, the teams that leave will have to give their TV revenue to the ACC unconditional. Like what they would make from TV rights are going to go to the ACC. So even if the Florida State got the ACC invite and got $90 million or whatever, none of that is going to them. That's my understanding. I could be wrong about that. They also have to pay an entrance fee on top of that, which USC, UCLA, LSU have to pay entrance fee too. So they'd probably, I think someone said it'd be like $130 million they had to just like eat or some shit like that, just off the rip. $130 million. So I don't know. It's some kind of crazy number, $100 million, something like that. But I think they make 30 right now, so that'd be 30 over 13 years. Not easy to position that to anybody. And also, Florida State's like broke. Florida State has been surviving off of some donor money recently with the recruits, but like Florida State like does not make that much money in the grand scheme of things in terms of like their donors or whatever, endowment money, whatever. So they don't have the money to just eat that shit, basically. Especially if they want to continue to have like a competitive football program. It's probably gonna be one or the other. They can eat that shit, but they probably suck dick for like fucking decades. And Clemson, I don't know what their status is like. Florida State's been louder about this, and Clemson has been, but both of them are pretty much in the same boat. But the ACC is going to inevitably die. It's just about now or later, because pretty much we've got to the point where like all the dogs, the big dogs, are like snatched up. Like you could make little dogs big dogs. Like Jacksonville State can become a pretty decent powerful FBS program one day after killing on the FCS level. I'm sure North Dakota State or San Diego State, South Dakota State could eventually become powers too. I'm sure it's possible, but like it's just about how much it would take to get to that point. You know, I mean, I don't think that. You know, I don't think you want to be the ACC and have like Clemson playing against fucking Jacksonville State, you know? Like, I don't think that's what you want to position. You pretty much need, like, relatively equal powers. And unfortunately, most of them are snatched up. The group of five may have a couple of, like, kind of lower laying fruit that's just out there, like a Memphis or somebody like that. But, like, for the most part, the big dogs have been assimilated. And whoever you get now at this point just kind of positions you, like, even further away from the AC or the Big Ten and the SEC. You're not getting like, you know, like for like, I don't know, let's just say for the ACC, like if they could get fucking like Rutgers, for example, that'd be like a decent get for them. But like it's just like, why would anybody come up from the highest peak and then come down to help, you know, the ACC or the Big 12 or, you know, whatever. Like it's just, it doesn't make sense. So I think we'll get to a point where pretty much some of the group of five programs, or not programs, but conferences come together and say, hey, we're going to band together. We're going to keep this shit going, merge, keep it moving. Somewhere in the line, Pac-12 is going to accept that shit themselves. Maybe the Pac-12 can do something with the ACC. The whole Auerbach threw that out there. It's like some kind of like just offhanded remark. But like, I don't think it'd be that crazy to expect something like the Pac-12 and ACC to come together and be like, hey, this is a merger in the sense that like we have 6 teams here. They don't even have 6. I think they have 4 after all this gets done. But let's say they have 4, and then the ACC has everyone on the East Coast. So we have a coastal thing, and maybe they can find some way to divvy it up to where like. I don't know, dude. It's just like logically, it's just hard to even imagine like Stanford going to fucking Florida State or Miami. I mean, like it's impossible to like even imagine. The same way, like going from Rutgers to fucking Los Angeles is damn near impossible to imagine. I don't know, dude. It's crazy to think about, but like I say all that to say that like the NIL is not the reason this shit has happened. Like this is because of greed and fucking incompetence as this has happened. I'm not even talking about like, I could go like a whole nother hour about the fucking Texas and greed that really got the ball rolling on this, but that's it for me now. If you want some more content about football, I can do it. I'm gonna be following this shit ardently for the rest of like the next fucking foreseeable future because I love college football. You know, I mean, I don't like it as much as I used to because ESPN and the TV network said fuck bowl games. All those 50, 60 bowl games that people really seem to like on BCS, they don't fucking matter. We're going to just advertise the playoff anyway. And then they say, okay, well, how do we make the bowl games matter even less? Let's do more playoff games, and let's dedicate even more money towards the big dogs and the SEC and the Big Ten. And basically, the little dude at this point might as well go fuck himself because that's just, it is what it is at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean the sport sucks. It's not in a good position. I don't give a shit how last season was. Last season was a good season of like material of watching, but at the end of the day, the sport is going to just be a bootleg NFL. It's going to get to a point where you ask yourself, why the fuck would I watch this? I could just watch the NFL. Because rivalries won't exist. Rivalries don't, to me, matter much in the fucking NFL. Like, you have some fan bases that are like, oh my god, like that's what divisions add for you. Is that divisions inherently bring some rivalry into the sport, but like, I don't see much difference between fucking Indianapolis playing fucking New Orleans and fucking USC playing fucking Rutgers. I keep on Rutgers. I fucking hate Rutgers. Like, I don't understand why Rutgers exist outside of like they were just lucky. They got the invite. They took the invite. It's like, fuck it. We have the New York market, which doesn't give a shit about college sports. Here you go. And now Rutgers just gets the fucking eat at the table because they just hypothetically brought in a market that didn't actually fucking, like, I think exists in reality, but whatever. College football is cooked. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to keep on going. It's going to keep on making money because it is a sport and a sport with staying power. But in terms of enjoyment or actual originality, things that made it feel like different than anything else, that shit's gone. Like, that shit is cooked. It's gone.